Hello, I'm Shelley Rothus, and I'm a different kind of victim. And the part 6 continued, and the last part was based upon conditioned, normalized assholism syndrome. So, what I went over was based upon how we throw out so many different mental illnesses and terms based upon those mental illnesses, or even behaviors that we find unacceptable. So one thing I give a thumbs up to my favorite teacher, Professor Dyer, is that he always pushed to take responsibility for your behaviors and actions. So the excuses and exceptions come in handy for even those who choose those behaviors and actions and are capable of making the decisions to do those actions or behaviors. As I've been talking about, which is personal integrity that my friend Beth had taught me about, that deals with being the bigger person. As we've discussed, as for the issues with Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous, and making it as though you're a total failure, because you made a mistake. Instead of being a bigger person and having the pride to admit that, you're human, you make mistakes. Just try not to do it again and make changes. That's what should be pushed, not always just throwing out mental illnesses. So just like with feelings, having the feelings of sadness, depression, anger, they're all normal feelings. So the mental health field needs to take a chill pill as for coming up with all these, mental illnesses or theories as to why people do this and that, when just we need to understand that people have feelings, people have the capability, most people, to make, excuse me, it was a hot day, so I've been so thirsty and dry throat. Anyways, they have the capability, they don't have no brain damage as to where they're unable to make those decisions. So that's what we need to focus on, is people understanding that it's their choice as for behaviors and actions, and we make mistakes. So if you make a choice that is a bad decision that affects others in ill ways, then it takes a bigger person and someone who has personal integrity. It's not about, they say that they have a low self-esteem. No, it's about being self-centered, because like I've been saying throughout all my videos, it's easier to be an asshole. It's easier to choose to be an asshole. And like I've stated, is that even abusers, people that use abusive behaviors and regularly and quite frequently, even they have experienced feelings of pain. And just like we teach children to understand that those are not good feelings, they know they're not good feelings. Even a child realizes that and can learn and know not to do the same things to others as the way we teach them. So the next part is going to get into that even more so with the best article, Genius, written by Paula J Caplan, that I read years ago, and I still remember it to this day. I mean, it was just, she hit it spot on. I mean, she's thinking right on the same lines as me. So far, I'd like to say is that I've been looking for a job, so I've been quite busy, but I'm looking as to, I'm gonna get a job and hopefully start next week. It actually happens to be the one job that I was hoping to be able to work at right from the start, even before I escaped my abusers. I'm sorry, 3 assaholics, as my friend Brian would say. And it was, it brought me to Ken's words of wisdom: as long as you're happy and not unhealthy. So was I happy when I was living with the 3 assaholics? No. Was that my dream? No. My dream, and what I see as a miracle now, is actually happening for me. Of course, there is, feelings of, sadness and anger here and there, and it's all normal. Even though my biggest miracle is happening to me, of course, we're human and we all experience those feelings. Just like I had shown as to what happened when I did get traumatized, I went through it myself. I said, I'm going to go through these feelings. It's natural, and I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to build back up. And that's exactly what I did. Are those bad memories, always going to be there? Of course. They affected me, and that's the result of it. But I'm going to still keep moving upwards. Just like I discussed in the part 6 of continuation, is that when they took that drink, I'm an alcoholic. No. Put it down. Admit to your mistake. Think about what you need to change, and realize that you're human and you make mistakes. That takes a bigger person and someone with personal integrity, and realizing that you should be proud when you're able to admit to your own faults and take responsibility for them. That's what makes a person have pride. People that are self-centered, they want to take the easy route out, even if it means hurting others along the way. And it's also a form of self-protection, which I'm going to be going over. Like I stated, is that abusers also realize, that they're hurting those victims. They realize that. Just like Ken knows that he had hurt me based upon things that he's been through himself. And he himself admits he doesn't like getting hurt. That's why he has trust issues, is because he doesn't want to get hurt. And it's just easier to protect yourself and be an asshole and be self-centered instead of having to risk getting hurt. Even victims can go through that. Like I had stated, is that I may have not gone through it the same way as he did. I do understand that self-protection is right there. And it's exactly how I did it myself. I put on that mask as though I was a mean person, and I didn't smile, I didn't look too friendly, but I didn't want to risk being friends with anybody or having relationships, because I knew myself too well. Is that with my low expectations of people and how much I give and never got back, I ended up in a lot of toxic relationships. I knew myself too well. And like I stated, is that what I've learned based upon Ken's words of wisdom, and also the experiences I went through along with those words of wisdom, is that I now have personal boundaries that I have set strongly, and I actually am very proud and very happy with who I am. And like I stated, is that I'm a very honest person. I mean, people keep on saying that, it's like, if I see somebody and I think they're being a jerk to me, I'm going to tell them, you're a jerk. I'm not just going to go behind their back and say, oh, he's such a jerk. I actually tell people how I'm feeling, and they actually appreciate that, So it's really amazing. The people that I'm actually, in a relationship with and do like to surround myself with are the ones that do appreciate honesty. And those are the types of people I want in my life, also with respect towards me. And that involves being an honest person and somebody who has personal integrity. So let's start the next part. Paula J Caplan is a clinical and research psychologist, author of books and plays, playwright, actor, and director. I have read this article and must say that it is the most intelligent analysis based upon the mental health field that I have ever read. Do you believe that everything but sheer delight should be called a mental illness? And how about saying that by definition, acts of violence are proof of mental illness? Paula J Caplan, Psychology Today, June 5th, 2011. I served as an advisor to 2 committees for the current edition and was appalled by how unscientific was the process of deciding, in essence, who is normal and what are the varieties of abnormality or mental disorder. As an insider, I saw in spine-chilling detail the ways that poor science was used when it suited those in charge, and the ways that good research was distorted, ignored, or even lied about when that suited them. This wouldn't matter so much were it not for the vast suffering that being psychiatrically labeled has occasioned for so many. And yes, getting a label gets your insurance to pay for your therapy, but we should find a way to make it possible to get therapy paid for without having to label all suffering people mentally ill. There are ways to do that, and perhaps I will write about that in the future, but that will not change anytime soon. Back in 1985, when I attended my first DSM meeting, the editors were considering a proposal called paraphilic coercive disorder or paraphilic rapism. It amounted to this: if you had committed rape and had thought about it a lot, you qualified for this label. It would, of course, be an automatic mitigating factor in trials of rapists. "Yes, Your Honor," says the rapist, "I committed that assault. But you see, I'm mentally ill. Look at the DSM-5, and you'll see that the fact that I committed the rape proves that I am. So give me a lighter sentence." Paula J Caplan, Psychology Today, June 5th, 2011. I found Paula J Caplan's analysis is spot on. Not only the unfactual theory that sexual offenders are not capable of controlling their actions, but this also can apply to many mental health theories that have caused our society more harm than good. This same analysis can apply to those who make excuses and exceptions for anyone who chooses to use unacceptable behaviors or actions that do cause harm to another person. She hit it spot on. And that's right. There hasn't been any changes, and it actually has gotten worse. Like I stated, everybody plays a role in society as to whether these excuses and exceptions and things that are unfactual actually could keep continuing and going around. Just like I stated that those who encourage, enable, or engage in abusive behaviors, whether it's in bullying or wherever it's done, they all play a role as to why the abuse continues to get worse in all areas. So the mental health field, they play a flaw in that because they come up with these theories and they throw those mental illnesses out there like, just like the medicines. People need to understand that we are human, we have feelings, and we go through things in life. And as she's proven is that, the insurance companies, they want you to have a mental illness placed on you. So, you know what, that's another problem where discrimination against special needs comes into play. Whenever somebody sees a crime that gets done, even you'll see it in the bullying group where they're putting me down because, saying I'm mental and blah, blah, blah. That's the kind of thing that gets spread. Just like people calling others, retard, which actually insults those who actually have that special need, and that's why they changed it. They're gonna actually have to change the word mental illness to something else because people don't use it properly as to where it actually does apply. Because as I've stated before, is that, those people in that bullying cult clan, or even the 3 assaholics, the people that have mental illnesses that I've known, many of them, they're actually more respectful than people who aren't, labeled. Let's just say they haven't been labeled yet. I don't know. I'm gonna have to come up with mental illness for those people, such as those in that, those bullying cult clans, certain ones especially, as to what they actually did. That was, really inhumane and unacceptable behaviors. I'll give a hint, Ken. So, here these people, they throw these labels out, insulting people, saying they're mentally ill, or they even say, well, oh, they committed that crime because they're mentally ill. That's the same as saying, it's in you're born with it. It's in your brain. You're an abuser. You're born to be an abuser, right? Sure. Yeah. So that's the same as I applied with, Professor Dyer's, teachings to me that I missed in class that day. So anyways, that does apply the same thing. Those people that, take that sip, they think, oh, I'm a failure. I'm just going to keep drinking, I might as well go back. That applies to abusers too, that do it regularly and continue to do it and don't stop and say, whoa, I hurt that person's feelings. Instead they think, well, you know what, I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to feel hurt. And, or they make excuses like, this is a well-known one is, oh, well, I've been deceived or betrayed too. So, you know what? I have a right to be mean to others, even if it wasn't that person that did it to them. I actually wrote that in one of my letters to BBC Diarist. I'm not the past as to the people that hurt him in the past. So that's his protection zone, is being that asshole. But is that actually right? No. And does that actually benefit him in the end? No. But he also hurts others by doing so. Just like me with my protection zone, did that help me any? No. I still ended up hurting, because the thing that actually needed to change was me actually bringing it out of myself and having that respect and coming to that realization that I do deserve to be respected and that I should expect others to treat me with respect, as Ken's words of wisdom. It's a very complicated story, as you could tell, because here, the one person that traumatized me really badly, their words of wisdom. So like I said, that friendly dork and the self-centered prick, and I have to keep on separating. So anyways, I'm hoping to start working, soon and get the job. I mean, it's just amazing that the job that I was considering, even before I escaped, that I was hoping to get into this type of job, is the one that I'm most likely going to be starting soon. I almost had the chance to be a teacher as well, and that's what made it extremely hard, is going between the two. I have a bachelor's degree in mental health, and here I am, going like, I could be a teacher, and it's like, okay. So I just went with everybody's suggestion, just whichever comes first, take it and just do it, because that's what it was meant to be. So, the miracle is happening. I'm out on my own, and I'm finally, hopefully, gonna get that dream that I've always wanted since I was a young child. And you know what? I'm gonna be just like my dad. I never thought this, but I'll be working the night shifts. Ooh, that's what my dad did. I always admired him. He was such a great man. He worked really hard, and that was what I wanted to be when I grew up. I wanted to be just like him. And I remember he worked the nights, and he was such a hard worker. And that's exactly where I'm going to be, hopefully, starting soon, working the night shifts. So, part 6 will be continued, and it'll be the same topic, which is conditioned, normalized assholism syndrome. So, see you next time. I'm Shelley Rothus, and I'm a different kind of victim.